Hello, welcome to FHE on the Road with Christine Stevenson. This podcast is designed to connect the people and the places from the past with your lives today, with 5-minute stories and facts from church history. Save these stories for when you are traveling through these areas to bring history to life. Okay, welcome back to FHE on the Road with Christine. Today, I'm going to tell the story of the evil efforts trying to get the plates from the prophet Joseph Smith. I talked about doing this recording before in our last podcast. I know it's been a little bit of time. Christmas was a little bit crazy, and I'm excited to get back into it. I'm so excited to study Doctrine and Covenants this year. It is my favorite. I feel like these people are so close to us. They are not some people of a distant time, but they are our ancestors. And I love the efforts that went into bringing the restoration of the gospel to us today. So I love studying these stories, and hopefully you love them too. If you know anyone who's interested in these stories, then please share them. I have talked to so many people that have no idea how amazing these stories are of these miracles. So if you have anyone, I know the whole church is studying the Doctrine and Covenants this year, so share these stories with them because they're so awesome. Today, like I said, we're going to talk about the evil efforts trying to get the plates from the prophet Joseph Smith. So from the very beginning, Joseph Smith was warned that people were going to try to get the plates from him, and he always had to be on guard. He always had to be vigilant in his efforts to protect the plates. I can't imagine being Joseph Smith. He's asked to translate, he's asked to protect, he's asked to keep his family and his friends away. He can only show certain people. Like, he had quite the job, and he is so awesome to have done what he did. I love Joseph Smith. He's so great. Just a little bit of background. As we know, the golden plates were an ancient record recorded by ancient inhabitants in the Americas. So Joseph Smith was only 22 when he was given the gold plates to translate for the whole world, for us to have them today. The plates are a gift from heaven, and they were saved for so many years until the perfect time to bring them forth. And as we know, that time was when Joseph Smith was on the earth, when the Americas were ready for the Church of Jesus Christ to be reestablished on the earth. It's so awesome how it all connects together. And I love the book Saints and how it lays out how all the world was prepared. And so even though the plates were given to Joseph Smith from our Heavenly Father, it did not stop the evil from trying to get them from the young prophet. So as a 22-year-old being given this charge, it must have felt pretty weighty. And Joseph Smith and his family really worried about how to get the plates secure. And especially on the first night, getting them from the Hillcomore to the Smith farm, they were pretty nervous. And so once they got them there, then they felt a little bit better, but even still, the problems just would not let up. So translating and caring for the plates was a very, very special assignment, and it was challenging for the young prophet. Joseph needed to, like we said, he needed to stay vigilant and keep the records on the move. All this while providing for his family. He had a lot going on. It was hard what Heavenly Father asked of him. And when I say that, I just think of how incredibly blessed we are that Joseph Smith rose up to the assignment. Because it wasn't like, here, now you have all the money to provide for your family. And his family was not wealthy. And so to have all of this weight on him, along with having these golden plates that were worth so much money. And it was like, but that's not for you. It would have been hard. So one of the ways that Joseph Smith kept the plates safe was to hide them in multiple places around the Smith farm. But like we talked about, there were so many groups of people. Some of them were just curious and wanted to see if he really had the plates, and some were just plain evil and giving their best efforts to get the plates from Joseph for themselves. So new hiding places and different ways to keep the plates safe were always in the works. With the Lord on Joseph's side, the young prophet was always warned beforehand when the plots were set, and the plates remained safe until the translation was complete and the plates were safe back in heavenly care. One reason it was so difficult to keep the plates safe was because Joseph learned about the plates from the angel 4 years before he was given the plates. Rumors spread throughout the town, and many knew that Joseph Smith was working to get the plates before he had them. This waiting period provided a way for Joseph to learn and grow in the influence of God, but it was such a long period of time, it made it possible for so many people to hear about the plates, and plots started happening for the evil uses. Multiple evil plots formed of groups of men and women trying to either reveal Joseph as a fraud or use the plates to get gain. So there was a lot happening. Even with the multiple groups going against Joseph, the Lord protected the plates. Of course the Lord was going to protect the plates. And Evil does not prevail in the Lord's work, and we know that. But it also gets scary when it's so prevalent. Joseph was warned beforehand, and the plates stayed safe until they got the plates back to Heavenly Father. We talked about this a little bit before, but it is interesting to note that there were often people saying that Joseph Smith was a liar and never had received the plates, and in the next breath, they were making efforts to steal the plates. Some of the criminals were more effective than others in their efforts to steal the plates from Joseph. There's one man in particular, his name was Mr. Willard Chase, who was determined to get the plates from Joseph Smith. The Lord would not allow the golden plates to be taken. And Joseph was always, like we talked about before multiple times, but Joseph was always warned of wicked efforts before evil could get them. So this man, Willard Chase, did his research to plan and prepare for the theft of the golden plates. He sought the insight of psychics and conjurers to try to get information on the location of the plates. Ooh, he sounds so creepy. I do not like him. Willard Chase was also described as a psychic himself. In a description given by Brigham Young, Willard Chase was described as a fortune teller, a necromancer, an astrologer, a soothsayer, and possessed as much talent as any man that walked on American soil, and was one of the wickedest men I ever saw, is what Brigham Young said. Brigham Young also recorded that Mr. Willard Chase was very diligent in his efforts for finding the plates by riding over 60 miles 3 times in the same season in an effort to find the hidden golden plates. So Joseph Smith Sr., that's Joseph Smith's dad, he found out about a plot to get the golden plates and told the prophet's wife Emma. But even before that warning from his father, Joseph had already been informed of the danger from the Urim and Thummim. Joseph immediately returned to the Smith farm where he had hidden the plates in a hollowed out log about 3 miles from his home. Joseph removed the plates from the hollowed log where they had been hidden and wrapped the plates in a linen frock and placed them under his arm and started for home. So remember, that was 3 miles from his home. After walking for a time, Joseph thought it would be better to get off the road and walk through the woods. After a time, he came to a large log, and as he was jumping over the log, a man sprang from behind from the ground and gave Joseph a heavy blow with the back of a gun. The attacks on Joseph didn't stop there, but he was challenged 2 more times by individuals who attacked him. During the attack, Joseph struck one man, dislocated his thumb, and badly bruised his hand. Joseph was given the promise that the plates would remain safe as long as he stayed vigilant, and that promise was kept. Joseph and his family were constantly on guard, everyone making joint efforts to protect this special assignment. When the plates were safely on the Smith farm, Joseph sent for his brother Don Carlos to fetch a chest where the plates and other heavenly items could be stored. The plates were stored in a secure location in the chest, but even then the Smith family still worried about the evil plans to get the plates from Joseph. Catherine Smith, the sister of Joseph, stated, quote, that from the time the plates were brought into the house, the Smiths' premises were searching all around on a regular basis. Mobs of people even looked through the farms, fields, and its standing wheat stacks in hopes of finding the rumored treasure. End of quote. While the plates were in possession of Joseph Smith, the whole family had to work together to make sure the plates were safe. Just listening to what was going on in town and the plans to stop whatever was coming. And there were multiple times that people came really close to getting them. This is one of my favorite stories. One time they heard of a plan of people coming to try to get the gold plates, and the Smith family all worked together to come up with a plan to trick the mob to leave. So this story happened on the day Joseph returned home in a rush, worrying about the plates, and indicated that the mob would be there before nighttime. The Smith family got to work preparing the plans to be ready for the mob's arrival. I think it's so funny. So the Smith family, with the help of a friend, his name was Mr. Branham, they first made sure the plates were well hidden from an intruder by taking bricks out of the hearth of the fireplace. They hid the plates in the stop where they removed the bricks and placed the bricks on top, making it look like the bricks had never been moved. Then the saints got their plan ready to scare the mob when they'd arrived. When the mob men rode up to home looking for the plates, the Smith's plan was that the people in the Smith home would scare the mob away by crashing out of the doors, hollering and yelling as though there were a great many people in the home ready to fight the mob men. When the mob men came, then the plan went into action, and it worked perfectly. All of them ran out, yelling and screaming. The noise and the people running out of the home towards the mob panicked the mob, and they fled, keeping the plates safe yet again. I think that story is so funny. I love that Heavenly Father lets us use our own brains. He didn't tell Joseph exactly how to protect him. He just said that if he remained vigilant, they would be protected. And so Joseph had to work to figure out how to protect them over and over and over again. And what did he do? Like, he used his family and his friends and people he trusted, and they all helped in this. They all worked to be creative to keep these plates safe. I think it's so fun. Not long after the last story, where the Smiths hid the plates in the hearth of the fireplace, there was yet another threat on the plates. Joseph Smith hid the plates in the cooper's shoe on the Smith family farm. The plates were concealed in the floor of the shop, and Joseph, being warned by an angel, he, quote, took them out and hid them up in the chamber of the cooper's shop among the flax. The next night, someone came and took up the floor and dug up the earth and would have found the plates had they not been removed, end of quote. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I can't believe how many, it's like all the time it feels like. So it was all too much for Joseph, knowing that the plates and his family would not be safe in Palmyra, to finish the translation of the Book of Mormon. So Joseph and Emma left to Harmony, Pennsylvania to continue the translation of the Book of Mormon with hopefully a little more peace. Yeah, those are the stories that I collected about the evil efforts trying to get the gold plates. It just sounded like it was constant. And I think it's so amazing how our Heavenly Father helps us learn through all of this, because I know Heavenly Father could have done something to make it easier, but it's not through the ease that we learn either. So sometimes it's just got to be hard for us to learn, and it was hard for Joseph and his family. He just has a young bride, and he's trying to work for his future, like build a home and care for his family, and it was rough. Like, it was a hard time for him. And I'm so thankful for the sacrifices that he made. And I'm so, so thankful that our Heavenly Father has given us the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ back. It's so fun to know that our Heavenly Father cares about us enough to give us all this amazing information. I love the Book of Mormon. I love these stories of the gold plates in the very beginning of getting them back to earth, back to us, because we need them today. And I love these stories anyways. So hopefully you love them too, and those are the evil efforts to get the plates from Joseph Smith. Thanks. Thank you for listening to FHE on the road today. We hope you enjoyed what you've heard. Please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who'd be interested in these stories. Thanks.